Hello, Vanguard community. Today is Friday, April the 17th, 2020. I'm Jennifer Methvin, and I'm the Chancellor at Arkansas State University, Beebe. Welcome to Doing Things Differently, Learning Something New. These are just some conversations with ASU-Beebe faculty, staff, and today a student to learn about how the current public health crisis, the coronavirus, is impacting how we study, how we teach and learn, and how we live. I have with us today Kara McBrayer, and Kara is one of our students and the first student I've had the privilege to interview in this series. So Kara, please take a few minutes to introduce yourself.
All right, well, I'm Kara. I'll start by saying I am a business major. I do a lot in the business program, and I'm also in the student leadership program. I am also a senator in student government. And so I do a lot of things on campus. I was working at the front desk. So yeah, it's a lot of different things on campus. I love being involved. Also, some things that I like to do on my free time, I like to paint and run. So the next school I'll be, when I graduate, I'll be going to WBU to finish my 3rd and 4th year, but I'll be running there. So I graduate in May. So
you do graduate in May.
I do.
Awesome, awesome. So how do you feel about this whole virtual commencement thing?
I was really excited to actually have the actual graduation, but then knowing what happened, you know, what's going on, I understood why. And I was talking to my dad, and I said, I really appreciate the fact that they are willing to do an online kind of thing. I know it's not ideal, but I appreciate the work that y'all are putting into having a graduation for us. So
thank you. And remember, you can come back and also walk, actually physically walk at a future graduation next academic year if you'd like to do that, so you can have both. Good.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, again, the idea behind these conversations is just to see what we can learn together, what faculty and staff can learn about what students are going through, what students can learn about what faculty and staff are going through, and just an opportunity for us to learn together. So it's 5 questions, about 15 minutes, and if you're ready, Kara, we'll just jump right in.
I'm ready.
Okay. Since we moved to alternative methods of instruction, and that was on March 16th, a little over a month ago now, and it seems like a year to me, what's been the most challenging part of this for you as a student?
So as a student personally, I would say that motivation is the hardest part. And I like to think of myself as pretty well personally motivated. Like, it didn't normally take too much for me to get motivated. Sometimes I procrastinate, but just making myself get out of bed and, you know, sit down at the computer and do my work is hard for me to do, because I'd rather, you know, just lay there all day. So that's the hardest thing as a student.
Yeah. So, but you have internet connectivity at home?
I do.
Have a laptop or a computer, so you're not one of the ones who's having to come to campus?
No, but I do. I like that we have our app, because it's different. Like, I don't think other schools have this like social capability kind of thing, and so I get to see what other people are going through. Sometimes they'll post something fun. They're like, hey, something to brighten your day, or they'll post, hey, I'm really struggling, and then you see all these different people on there say things like, praying for you, or you got this. And it's nice to have a community that cares. So
it is. Yeah, I agree. The mobile app has been, which is only about I think a year old that we've had the mobile app. It's been very helpful, and it's been very helpful for me to see what students are going through and feeling, and it's very encouraging to see how you all support one another through that platform. That's amazing. Thank you for that. So what do you think you've learned so far through this process that might make you be just a little bit better student in the future than you are right now? Anything?
Okay, so I think it's going back to the thing I'm struggling with. It's helped me learn how to deal with something like that, like how to make myself be more motivated, because I personally don't do well with change. So this has been a big change for me. And this semester was the first semester I didn't have any classes online. So I was so excited. And then we got put on all online. And I was like, I could do this. But so the biggest thing that I've learned is like teaching myself how to time manage and stuff, and So I make sure when I wake up, I make up my bed so I don't get back in bed, and then I come sit at my desk. So it's just taught me how to do that, but also taught me like how important it is to spend time with my family because I was so busy all the time. And I get to hang out with my niece who's only 5 months old, and my sister. And so it's been nice to step back and learn that kind of stuff. Like, okay, you've forgotten about other things.
Yeah,
So,
so a little balance there. Yeah.
mhm.
So is this fair? Uh, um, Students of your generation tended to have been raised in a very structured way. Every minute of the day being structured. You knew when you were going to be in this class, and this class, and this after-school activity, and this after-school activity. My children as well
Yeah,
were raised that way, and so this having to structure your own time is a little bit more of a challenge.
it is. Yeah, it's definitely new. And I would say, yeah, I've definitely always been on this schedule kind of thing. Like even when I was outside playing, my mom would be like, okay, come inside at this time. So it's definitely new, especially since there's so many things that people are involved in, and there's more things coming to where people can be more involved in other things. And so it's just like this stuff wasn't always around. And so it's it's been it's really nice to just see people like stepping back, like I said, like I'll go on for runs like every day. I have time now, and I see children outside playing with their parents, and them drawing on the sidewalk with chalk and stuff. And I'm thinking, I've never seen this family outside together before because I normally go on runs, but um, I'm seeing that more people are probably realizing the same thing that I am, is that um, there's good in this. I'm not trying to discount the fact that this is a serious thing. Like the whole virus going around is a very serious issue, and I'm very thankful that it's not impacting me particularly in the way that it is others, but seeing how it has actually brought up some good is nice to know.
Yeah.
So
I agree. I agree. So what about personally, you away from being a student, what's been the most challenging or difficult part about this for you personally?
so personally would probably be just, I think more of an emotional, mental kind of thing, is that um, I do deal with anxiety. I'm okay to admit that. And so um, being at home and my parents, like, I am 20, so I mean, I do live at home still, hopefully move out soon, but being home by myself is kind of sad sometimes. Like you want to go see friends, or you want to go work, but I don't want to go get any diseases. So I'm like, I don't think I want to start a new job right now. And so the whole idea of just, like I said, something new and different is kind of, it's tough sometimes. And so um, I try to stay positive I'm a Christian, so I read the Bible. I try to do that at least once a day so that I can keep my mind on something positive. And so it's helped so far. So every time we have the thing on the app where it's like, put the heart for how your mental wellness is doing, I'm like, I'm feeling good. I've got a purple heart.
Yes, you do. You're purple almost every time. That's good. That's good. So also talk a little bit about, you're one of the folks who economically, even just here at the college, is having an economic impact.
Mm.
Um, you lost your part-time job,
Yeah, I did. So,
or at least your hours for now is maybe what we should say.
yeah, but since I'll be graduating, I won't be coming back. And so, I mean, if I were coming back, I have a feeling that something would be done about that. I don't know, maybe, because, I was just a desk worker, so it wasn't that I needed to stick around. But I will say, I keep telling my parents, they're worried about me, but I'm fine because I don't really have to work right now. But they're, it's just trying to think of how I want to say it. It's like, I was thankful for the fact that I had a job for the time that I did there, because I was working at Kroger before. And then I talked to Zach, because I'm around Zach all the time with student government and stuff. And I'm like, hey, I'd really love to work at the school, because then I could be even more involved in things. And I was able to be more involved. I was able to be a part of like things in the dorms. Like we had a night where we did an escape room that was pretty fun, and so it was nice to meet new people and also be like, hey, I'm on campus too. I know I'm a commuter, but I'm around, and so it was nice to be there while I could. And so, yeah.
Yeah, well, we miss you.
I miss
All
you
right.
too.
Well, that was the first 3 questions, so it's only fair you get the 4th question. What's your question of me?
Okay, my question for you is, what new things has this whole thing taught you as the Chancellor of ASU-Beebe?
So many things, Kara, but one of the things I've really been thinking about over the last day or so is sort of what you touched on, is there are multiple ways to communicate with and stay in touch with and our student body and keep them involved. And those of us in higher education, I tend to value, maybe I shouldn't paint everybody with the same brush I paint myself, but I value face-to-face interaction. I value being in the classroom with students. I value, one of the things I do is I do campus forums to provide information and get information from to employees and from employees. And I take a whole week to do that, and I do multiple sessions on every campus, so everybody has the opportunity to interact face to face and interact with me and one another, and it's wonderful, and I will go back to doing some of those kinds of things. But since the pandemic started, I have done 2 campus employee forums via Zoom, and there were many positives about that as well. What was going on over in the chat box, everybody commenting to one another worked, questions being posted over there so that everybody could hear the same question at the same time and hear the same answer from me at the same time was valuable. We have certainly learned that some students are seeking out services remotely that they wouldn't have walked into that office and access that service on campus because it was inconvenient or whatever, who are seeking out, who are hitting that remote services page and calling those numbers and setting up tutoring and advising by Zoom and those sorts of things, who didn't do that as often. So some students are communicating more with their with their nice visitor there, I like that. Communicating more with their advisor or the counselors or whatever. And so I think we won't ever work the same. Exactly what the positives are and that sort of thing. That's one of the reasons why I'm doing this series of interviews. Right. We want you all to help us figure that out. But like you, I think there's a lot of positive coming out of this, and we will operate differently. Our student services and instruction will probably never be the same.
Because there's actually a lot of things that you could say yes or no to this, but that could stay the same. Like some things might have worked better online. Because my dad learned that at his job. He said most of his conferences are going to be done over Skype now because they realized this actually works better,
Yeah, this works, and we're going to be in very, very tight budget situations for the next couple of years going forward. And so that kind of doing conferences and meetings without driving and meals and all that sort of thing is sort of going to be a necessity. So, but yes, it's also working relatively well, So I think there'll be a new normal. Yeah, I definitely do. Well, all right, as we finish this up, what do you think the silver lining is in all of this? For you, for ASU-Beebe, for our state, for our nation? What's the good news here?
Well, I guess I kind of said it already, didn't I? But silver lining, thing that I've talked about the present of what I see the goods happening. And so I think the silver lining per se, what's good to come is that I think for ASU-Beebe, like we've learned so much that now we know how to handle this in the future. Like if something would happen again, or we know that there's other options that, not necessarily ideal, but things that work. And then there's also the silver lining for our country. It's been a lot. Like you can see it all over the news. If you were to watch the news constantly, though, you'd just be down because it's crazy. But you can see that they're also learning just as much as we are, except larger scale, you know. And then I'd say silver lining for myself would be, because I've seen what it's done in the present, like how it's made me closer to my family, and realized that I need to just be still for a moment and stop going, because it's forced me to be still, literally. It's helped me realize that I want to still continue to spend time with my family, and not take that for granted, because it's something God gave me, you know. And so I don't want, when this all starts hustle and bustle again, then I don't want to get so involved again, if that makes sense. Like, I still want to be really involved in things, but I want to take time for other things too.
Valuing those personal relationships even more. Yeah,
right.
I think
Because I also value face-to-face. I emailed my professor the other day, Dr. Sapkota. I love Dr. Sapkota. I love all my professors, but she's so kind. And I was like, I miss you, and I was so looking forward to shaking your hand. And she's like, I miss you too, and you're going to do great. And so, you know, it's nice to still be able to talk to her, even though it's by email.
Yeah, good. Well, Kara, this has been a delight. Thank you for this conversation. Congratulations on being one of our graduates. And so we'll see you at virtual graduation, but I hope you will come back and walk. I value, Dr. Sapkota values shaking your hand, and welcome you into Vanguard alumni.
Thank
world.
you.
So we look forward to that. And my thanks to everyone who's following us on this series and learning things with us. We're doing things differently and trying to learn something new. You'll find that we're releasing these days apart, but you'll find that I will record a second one for today a little bit later that won't be released till next week. It's with Jeff Baggett, who is our maintenance coordinator on the Heber Springs campus, and today is his last day of work with us. And so he will be having a retirement party this afternoon and a conversation with me about learning what we're learning from this pandemic. So stay tuned for that with us as well. Thank you for your time. Thanks, Kara.
No problem.